Have you ever learned a new word and the next week you have completely forgotten about that? And you might say, I cannot remember the words that I learned last week. What should I do? I am Bahar and today I'm here to tell you the secret. Now what you're waiting for, let's watch it, learn it. First things first, I have to tell you that there are two different ways to study vocabulary. The first one is when you only need to know about the word's meaning or definition. Like when you are taking an exam and you have many tests and options as answers. So in these kind of situations, the only thing that you need is to know about the word's meanings, and after that, you can answer these questions correctly. That's it. When you want to take an exam that you need to memorize many words' meanings, you can have a word list. On one side, write new words, and on the other side, you can write their definitions, one sentence as an example, and also something that reminds you about that word. For example, I want to memorize the word accidentally. On one side, I will write the word, and on the other side, I will write its definition, which means by chance or unexpectedly. And also an example. For an example, I would say, she accidentally broke her sister's laptop. And also you need something that reminds you about the word accidentally. Every time you see the adverb accidentally, you can remember about accident. It is something that happens quickly or suddenly. And every time you're taking an exam and you look at this word, you can remember that it is something that happens quickly or suddenly. So as I said, the first step is to have a word list and try to write the words and also their meanings, an example, and also something that reminds you about that word. And I have to tell you that making sentences is so important if you want to memorize new words, because they can help you to know that how you can use that word in a sentence, and also it can help you to use your productive skill and you can remember them faster. So if you have 100 or 1,000 words that needs to be memorized, please try to have a word list. Don't try to read each of these words and their definitions and you think that it's okay, it's done, I know all of these words, because after a week you can completely forget all of the words. And the last step, which is so necessary and important, is to review these new words. Imagine you have created a great word list for yourself. It is so colorful, it has lots of examples and definitions and new words, but you don't review them after 2 weeks, and I can promise you that you will completely forget about them. So what is more important is to review them after 2 or 3 days, and when you found out that you have completely learned those words, it is okay to review them after a week or after 2 weeks, because you have reviewed them 3 or 4 times before. After that, you are totally ready to see these new words in your tests or some questions, and you can answer those questions correctly. Also, I recommend you to learn 10 to 20 words each day, but it is totally up to you. You can just look at the words that you need to memorize, and after that, set a schedule or goal for yourself. Plus, if you always have your phone with yourself, you can download many apps that you can make flashcards. It is exactly like that. You can have again a word list. Write new words and on the other side their definitions and some examples. It is easier for you because you always have your phone in your hands. Now it's time to talk about the second way when you want to study vocabulary. Well, when you want to use new words, phrases or idioms in your sentences or your conversations, I mean when you are talking in your daily life, well, you should learn these new words in a different way. The first step is to find a need for yourself. I mean, don't start learning new words from Unit 1 because that is completely incorrect. What you need is to find a topic every time you want to learn new words. For example, I want to talk about my dream job. The first thing that I should do is to find the topic jobs in your vocabulary book and start learning new words, collocations, adjectives, idioms, and so on. So if you have a need every time you want to start studying vocabulary, it motivates you to learn those new words. It's kind of like you set a goal for yourself, so after that you can talk about that while you're speaking. After you have chosen your topic and you have found that page, you can open your book and start reading these new words. Now it's time to underline and highlight those words that are useful for you. Just remember that you don't need to remember all these new words about that topic. Like when that book has 10 or 15 new words about the topic, you can learn 4 or 5 of those words that are easy for you to pronounce them, easy for you to remember, and also spell those words. For an example, I want to learn the word pretentious. Well, it is kind of hard to pronounce or spell this word. If you think that it is hard for you to pronounce this word, it's not necessary for you to remember them. You can just skip this word and try to remember some other words that are helpful and also useful for you when you are speaking in English. So in this way, you don't need to remember many difficult or hard words. Just try to memorize some easy words that are easy for you to pronounce or spell them. After you have highlighted or underlined the words that you think that are easy for you to learn, you need to write their definitions, an example, and also their parts of speech, like if they are a noun, a verb, an adverb, or an adjective. It is so important to know how you can use them in a sentence. Like when you are learning the word accidentally, you should know that it is an adverb. So every time you want to use it in a sentence, you do not have to use that as a noun or as an adjective, because that is completely wrong. So knowing the words parts of speech is so necessary and crucial. If you think that you want to learn more about that topic, you can learn more idioms, more adjectives, more phrasal verbs, or collocations. Why not? You can do the same thing for them and try to learn some idioms about that topic. That is great. It can definitely help you to improve your speaking skill. And the last step, which is more important than any other steps, is to look at these words and start writing or speaking and use these new words. I mean, use your productive skills. Every time you learn a new word, try to use them in your sentences, make more examples. But in these kind of situations that you need to speak in English in your daily conversations, or you want to write something in English, you need to use them in your writing or while you're speaking in English. So it is so important to use your productive skills and use these new words while you're doing that. And please don't close your books when you are writing or you're speaking in English. Try to look at these words, because you have just learned these words and your brain cannot remember all of these parts of speech, or I don't know, their definitions. Try to look at these words every time you want to speak or write. You can do these steps for a topic. For 3 or 4 days, you can learn many idioms, phrases, new words, and after that, you will see that you are using them in your speaking or while you're writing something in English. That feels so great and amazing. And the last thing that I have told you 1 minute ago, and I want to emphasize on it again, is to review these new words. When you have learned new vocabulary or grammar, try to review them after a week so you will never forget about them. Okay guys, that was it for today's video. If this video was useful for you, don't forget to subscribe to my channel right now and like this video to support me and to let YouTube algorithm know that you have enjoyed this content. And also, if you know some other techniques or ways that can help us to remember new words, you can tell me in the comments. And also, if you have some other questions, you can ask me in the comments. I will read all of your feedbacks and answer your questions. So yeah, that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye. Have a nice day.